Over 40 BMW riders converged on Springerville, Arizona for 4 days of riding the area in and around the White Mountains. The first day was a 230-mile ride to get to Springerville. Sholo was 184 miles into that ride. We stopped there for lunch and refueling. After lunch, we only had 56 miles left to go on AZ-260. The first part took us through the little towns of Wagon Wheel, Lakeside, Pine Top, Honda, and McNary. After that, it was clear sailing through beautiful scenery, even with fall colors, on our way to Eager. Eager is a town just south of Springerville. Both of them run together somewhere around the Sonic Drive-In. We were headed for the Econolodge, a place with no vacancies while our group was there. After lunch, we were ready to gas and go, but we weren't in any rush, not with the short run we had left to do. It was a good thing, too. We wound up at a gas station where all the pumps were occupied, and to our surprise, most of those drivers had finished getting gas and then went into the convenience store to shop for a while. Things back up quickly when the pump islands turn into long-term parking spaces. But we relaxed, hung out, stretched our legs. We had company, too. A young guy was super into motorcycles and wanted to talk to us all about them. It was fun seeing his enthusiasm, and we took that energy with us as we headed out for Springerville. It's about 19 miles from Cholo to McNary. Little towns are spread out all along that stretch of road. It wasn't easy for me to tell where one town left off and another one began. There's a mixture of open country and pine trees all along the way. Some neighborhoods are hidden back in the pines. The whole stretch of road seems to be Main Street for all of the towns. One thing noticeable was how the road changed as we made our way southeast. First it was 4 lanes and divided, then 4 lanes not divided, then it dropped down to 2 lanes. It all was a fine example of how when cities are small, they can coexist with nature in a way that gives you a good feeling being there. We had great weather for our 4-day ride, except for some 40-mile-an-hour gusts the morning of our 3rd day. 1 week after we were here, there were thunderstorms and flash flood watches for most of Arizona. People who visit this area on days like this might be tempted to uproot and move here. They should be aware that this area also averages 25 to 40 inches of snow annually, with a typical snowstorm dropping 6 to 8 inches of wet, powdery fun. As shivering transplanted residents might say, you're not in San Diego anymore. As a side note to motorcycle riders, if you think riding staggered is useless and unnecessary, then you haven't had your sweeper get a sip of whiskey throttle next to you. It only takes one oops to ruin your day. We set an easy pace, not racing, not poking along. Two good things come from an easy pace. You get to relax and see the scenery, and you avoid speeding tickets. For some reason, motorcycles are quite noticeable to law enforcement officers. Traveling far from home, we might not know the speed traps, so no sense falling into one. We're not out here to race anyway, although we do go fast sometimes. We're out here to tour the countryside and make use of our cruise controls. I know that frustrates a lot of pickup truck drivers. Is it my imagination, or do pickup truck drivers want to race motorcycles, or at least show they can pass them? It seems pickups like showing displays of speed around motorcycles, as if we care to race them, which we don't. If they want to race, they can get out their motorcycle, if they have one. Meanwhile, our sport tours will continue doing a sporty job touring. It's always great meeting fellow riders, mostly at eating places and gas stations, but on the road is one of the best ways to meet and greet. And if one of the riding group wants to take it easy or change up the riding order, that's easy to do too. just like that, 4 lanes reduces to 2. Civilization begins to thin out. We're headed into the scenic ride to end the riding day. We left at 7:30 in the morning, 200 miles behind us. We've been through a lot of traffic, intersections, roundabouts, construction zones, you name it. But once I get out here, surrounded by beauty, all of that slips away. I'd gladly ride 200 miles any day to breeze through non-stop nature like this. There are certain stretches of road through here that I don't remember. I remember the magic carpet ride, but not the road. Minutes went by. I didn't pay attention to the road at all. Thank God for muscle memory when you relax into the flow of it. An endless gauntlet of trees eventually thins out and gives way to patches of moving meadows and fertile ranch land. Cattle graze, sometimes alongside the road. As the land changes, so does the makeup of the forest. Soon there are glimpses of fall color among the pines. The splendid show has more in store. Suddenly the world opens up. This is no place to be if you're agoraphobic. After miles of being cradled by forest, rushing into the sudden openness takes one's breath away. Just for a moment I grip the handlebars tighter. Now we zoom to a far horizon, a place no doubt with more surprises. The colors and variety of landscape dazzled like a jump to warp speed. I kept rolling through a hypnotic tunnel of celebration. When I asked nature what it was celebrating, all I heard was laughter. It found my question comical. No one needs a reason to celebrate, it exclaimed. That's what true celebration means. After flying through nearby trees for so long, being back in wide open spaces gives one the feeling of not moving. The surrounding landscape feels like an infinite plain, with very little but the lines on the road to let one know there's still continued motion going forward. The openness is one of the first signs, though, that we're getting that much closer to the little town of Iga. It's been 220 miles of riding so far today, but the best rides aren't counted in miles. At this point, I didn't care how long we had gone. At this point, I just wanted to continue, even though we only had a dozen or so miles left to go. After so much of the uniform beauty of nature all around, a scar appears, an anomaly. It catches the eye and one's curiosity. It seems out of place. It makes one wonder what happened here. Did someone try to mine this hill long ago, then abandon it? One side of it is gouged away, exposing rich deposits in different colors. The satellite view of this hill is even stranger. The map gives this place no name, no distinction. Whatever happened here must have good reason to remain a mystery. Maybe the locals know stories about it. If I remember, I'll have to ask them. For a while, the flatlands turned bipolar, with one half dry and brown and the other side green, a place where you'd expect grass-fed beef to be hanging out. Rainstorms didn't fall on one side of the road. That improbability is laughably remote. More likely, selective irrigation did this, although I saw no signs of irrigation equipment. If ranchers did water this to make it green, they were thorough about it because the green included the shoulder of the road, right up to the pavement. The sign says entering Egar, elevation 7,090 feet, population around 4,900. The city was founded in 1880. This was Apache country, and the area today is in the county of Apache. Coulter Ranch, once one of the largest cattle operations in northeastern Arizona, was also located in this area. Eager is also famous for the shootout between Bill Cooper and sheriff's deputies back in 2001 when they came on his property to serve a warrant. Cooper wrote the book Behold the Pale Horse and also had a radio show where he talked about his theories about what was going on in the world. He swore he wouldn't be taken alive, and he wasn't. The area, including both Eger and Springerville, is known as the Round Valley. Springerville has less population than Eger, only about 2,000 people live here. But it sits at the crossroads of 60, 260, and 180, all major routes in and around the White Mountains. Back in the 1800s, Henry Springer had a trading post here. That's how the place got its name. Notable for Springerville, it has one of the 12 Madonna of the Trails statues, created back in the 1920s to celebrate pioneer women. The 12 statues are spread out across the United States, from Cumberland, Maryland to Upland, California. Many miles ago, the five of us turned off AZ60 onto 260 for our after-lunch run among the pines. Now we have looped around and returned to AZ60, now in Springerville. Show Low, Arizona is about 50 miles to the west, and Pie Town, New Mexico is 70 miles to the east. We definitely have plans to get pie in Pie Town, but for now, it's time to check into the motel, relax, share some stories, have some dinner, and rest up for tomorrow. Another full day of riding. Tomorrow we do the Coronado Trail. Always a fun challenge.